Hello. Today we're going to cover how to fix PTSD. Now, probably like most people, you've been told stories about the events you have been through have created PTSD, and now you're permanently fucked up because of it. And can definitely buy into that narrative if you like, but I'm going to present you with a different way of looking at it that's not only going to fix it, but it's probably going to change your entire life. And for me, this is something I really figured out because I have experienced, some would say, a lot of traumatic events in life, and somehow I've still managed to survive through them all. And that's the amazing thing. And it caused me to realize that these events that you go through, there's different ways you can look at things. And by simply changing your viewpoint, they call that cognitive reframing, it actually changes the way your brain interprets things, and it changes the way that you go through life. So by simply changing this one aspect here, you may very well change your entire life. If you suffer from issues that have to do with so-called PTSD. And what it is this. So I learned that these events that I have been through are not necessarily bad, even though you would say, well, they're bad. But I look at it as these things created a lot of growth within me as a person. Like I said, it's all in how you look at it. If you look at these as growth events rather than trauma events, then it certainly flips the whole narrative around, and you go from being in the victim mentality to being in the survivor mentality. And if you think about it, there's a lot of growth that happens when you're involved in trauma. Not always, but there can be. Let me rephrase that. There can be growth. And the growth happens when you are able to make the connections in your own mind and piece together some things and come away with a greater understanding of not only the event, but mainly of yourself. So, me, I don't look at it anymore as necessarily an event that has shaped my life, but I look at these events as opportunities that I experienced wherein I was able to grow as a person. And you can take any event you're involved in, whether it's traumatic or not, and you can evaluate it from that aspect. And so what happens when you look at it from that framework is you see that you might have had a lot of opportunities to grow. And the important thing is to get the growth out of that. The growth involves learning, and that learning is about yourself. You can learn about other people and why they do things they do and why they react the way they do. And that's fine and dandy, but that's not going to create any personal growth within yourself. In order to create personal growth, you need to understand why not only you do the things you do, but why you think the way you think. And part of that is the way you interpret the events that happen to you. If you interpret those through a negative filter, as in everything's traumatic, then it's going to have a dire effect on your day-to-day life. Whereas if you interpret events as these are further opportunities for me to grow from and get knowledge and wisdom out of about myself, what can I pull from these events in order to better understand myself? Then it becomes a growth opportunity. And that totally rewrites the entire script of probably your life. So definitely some things to think about and implement. And to the extent you can implement that is the extent that you're going to experience a more enriched life. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions on this video and what your thoughts are. Have a good day.